The holidays are about spending time with your loved ones and creating magical memories that will last a lifetime. So whether it's family and friends you haven't seen in a while, or those who you see all the time, share holiday magic this season with an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Copyright 2024, The Coca-Cola Company.
This episode is brought to you by Disney's Mufasa, The Lion King. Get tickets now for the ultimate family holiday movie experience. Reunite with the characters you know and the untold story you'd never expect. Witness Mufasa's rise from orphan to king and see how the legendary villain Scar got his name. Disney's Mufasa, The Lion King. In theaters everywhere this Friday. The kingdom awaits.
Did you guys move the cars before the police came?
The airport police, they had us move down and park after the scene. And then
so the cars were moved. Did anybody take a picture of the cars before they were moved?
I took the picture seconds after the incident.
After you were asked to move or before you were asked to move?
This is the plaintiff, Robert Mayer. He says he was picking someone up at the airport, and the defendant was parked at the curb and decided it would be a good idea to pull out without looking. Sure enough, she crashed into his car. She caused a lot of damage, and since she refuses to pay, he's suing her for the $3,000 he's owed. These are the defendants, Jennifer and Eric. Jennifer says she 100% looked before pulling out. And just as she did, the plaintiff changed lanes abruptly and without warning and cut her off. She slammed on her brakes, but ended up skidding into him. The plaintiff was definitely in the wrong here, and she's not paying for something that wasn't her fault. She's accused of not looking where she's going. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $482.16 for lost wages.
All parties, please get your readiness.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Mayer, what happened?
Simply driving down the lane of traffic. When I passed the defendant's car, she just bolted out and hit the back of the car.
Okay, she just bolted out. So if she hits the back of your car, you've already passed where she is. Are you in, how many lanes of traffic are?
2 lanes of traffic, parking lane. The picture shows the car that was in front of her was a black car.
Okay, and is this a picture of the back of her car?
My car. The red one is my car.
The red one is your
black car.
And then where do you say she was? She was behind that car?
Yes.
And then she pulls out, and you're just driving straight?
Right.
You don't go into either lane. You're driving straight?
If I was to turn right as defendant claimed, I would have hit the black car.
Well, it depends on when and where. But in any event, you're going straight in the leftmost lane?
2 lanes. I'm in the right lane, traveling alongside the cars parked.
Right lane?
There's 2 lanes at the airport.
Okay.
Then you have the cars parked in the right side.
Come on over here. Come on over here, and let's see if maybe this will help me to understand. So that's where the cars are parked. And then there's 2 other lanes, right?
Right. This is the parking lane.
Right.
This is the traffic flowing.
Right. So you don't have to put a car in the parking lane. I get it that that's the parking lane. Make one car.
As I pass.
Who is that? That's you?
Yes.
So she's parked in the parking lane?
Right.
She's parked in the parking lane, and what happens?
She pulled out and hit the back corner of my car.
But she's looking straight ahead. How does she pull out and hit the back? Which corner of your car does she hit?
Right here. Right rear.
Right. Okay, so according to you, do the accident just like it happens. Make the cars move just like it happens. So when the accident happens, she is still virtually 100% in the parked lane.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and come back. No, don't touch anything. Come back to the podium. And were the police called?
Yes.
And did you guys move the cars before the police came?
I was driving down, there's 3 stop signs. This happened around right after the second stop sign. I was heading for the 3rd stop sign where my daughter was. But when this happened, she come running down, and I had asked the defendant if she called the police. She said no. Then I asked my daughter to call the police.
Right, but that wasn't my question. My question was, did you guys move the cars before the police came?
The airport police, they had us move down and park after the scene. And then the
So the cars were moved. Did anybody take a picture of the cars before they were moved?
I took the picture seconds after the incident.
After you were asked to move or before you were asked to move?
Before I was asked to move.
All right, so then if that's the case, how can your testimony be correct? Because look at the picture that you showed me. You show the black car, and the black car is double parked. It's not in the parking lane. So if that's the black car she was behind, then it couldn't have happened the way you're describing, because beyond that black car is the parking lane, right? Do you? I don't know why you're laughing. I was serious with my question.
No,
right there. What car is that?
This is her car.
That's her car.
This is mine.
I'm sorry. Okay, back it up. That's her car.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry. I thought you said that was the black car she was parked behind.
No. This
so
is the
according to
black
you,
car.
that's the black car she's parked behind, the one that's in the tippy top where you can only see the front of it.
Right.
Okay. They're both black cars, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and go back to your podium. So according to you, she pulls out, hits you, and that picture is before anything is moved. Why are there 7 feet between you? I guess because you kept going after the hit.
That's where I stopped after she hit me.
What part of your car is damaged, ma'am?
It is the driver's side, the left bumper, a little bit of, it's a blue car, like a navy blue.
Okay, yeah.
A little bit of the,
Is this where it's damaged?
Yeah, around the rust area, so
Yeah.
it is hard to see.
All right, now according to you, I need you to come on over here and show me how it happened.
So this is all the parked cars. You don't want any cars.
No, I know what a
represent
parked
that.
car is.
Okay.
That I don't need.
So then, if he's saying this was him, so that was me.
So you weren't in the parked car lane,
No.
according to you.
No, I was not.
What, you were double parked.
I was double
But you were double standing because you were in the car.
Right.
And who were you waiting for?
My daughter.
Okay. And then what happens? Go ahead.
I had my hazard lights on, and when my daughter got in the car, I took my hazard lights off. I looked around to make sure it was clear for me to start advancing forward, and it was clear. So I started driving forward, and I don't know where
There's no car in front of you?
There was no car in front of me.
Okay, go on.
That's why I started driving forward. And as I started driving forward, he came like that.
To cut in front of you in order to pick
cut.
up whoever he was picking up.
Right.
And then put the 2 cars the way they hit.
It was like this, so it's almost like they kissed, right here, and then like that.
So according to you, your car, and okay, you can go back. Do you remember how you told me that her car was 99% in the parking lane when the accident happened? Your picture doesn't show that. Your picture shows her in the lane she says she was in.
The police report shows it.
Yeah, but the police report just wrote what you said. The police weren't there. They just wrote what you said. What I'm asking you, remember when you chuckled? That's what I'm asking you about. All right, so now I understand, because I thought that black car was the car she was behind. That black car is navy, and it's her car. The black car next to her is the car that you say she was behind. When I asked the question, does anybody have a picture before the cars are moved? You said this picture is a picture before the cars were moved. You recall how you had her hitting you, and she was completely in the parking lane, 99% in the parking lane? I kept asking it over and over, so she's 99% in the parking lane, and you keep telling me yes, yes, yes. How is her car, her navy car, there 99% in the parking lane?
She was parked.
I don't want you to repeat yourself. I want you to answer my question.
She's leaving.
Is that car 99% in the parking lane in that picture?
No, it's out of the parking lane, because after she hit me,
but
she came out.
But when I asked you to show me the accident, I asked you repeatedly whether she was 99% in the parking lane. And you kept saying, yes, this is how it happened. This is how the accident happened.
When the contact was made, she was still coming out of the parking area. Her own testimony says she pulled away from the curb.
How long did it take the police to come out there?
It was quite a while, because the first police officer was the airport police. Then we had to wait about 20 minutes.
Did the airport police write anything up?
No.
What happened with the insurance companies? Did they get involved or no?
No.
Were you in the car, sir?
No, I wasn't.
Are you the registered owner of the car?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Where's your daughter?
Right now, she's in school in college.
Did she give you a statement?
No.
Was she in the car when it happened?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you get a statement from her? Was she paying attention?
Not really.
Yeah.
Her cell phone was, that was
And you
her
didn't have
focus.
anybody else? Or you had, your daughter was, or your...
I was picking up.
You were picking up your daughter also? Yes. And she was a couple of stop signs away, so she didn't see anything either, right?
No.
Yeah. And there were, I mean, there's people everywhere.
I know.
How is it that there's not one other witness, including the boy, they were right up in your, move it along. They're right in your business all the time, but then like the 1 minute you need them, they didn't.
There was a witness, the car in front of the black car that was in front of her. Saw the whole accident.
Okay, so
went to
let
give
me see
his
their
information,
testimony.
But I said it was a rear end that usually.
Let me see their testimony. Do you have it?
No.
Yeah, it's a rear ender is the fault of the person in the back, not always, most of the time. But if you're cutting in front of her, not always. So her testimony is that you're cutting in front. She's already in that lane, and everybody's in a big hurry, and then she's coming out and you're coming in, and that's how the accident happens. She says it's your fault, you say it's her fault. You say that she's here, and you're just riding along, and then she comes out, because it's one thing when you don't see the car behind you, but she's looking right out and coming out, and she rams right into the back of you. You know, I don't know what happened out there. I'm amazed that not one person came forward and gave their name as a witness. Well, I'm not amazed. Why do I say I'm amazed?
But her own statement, she says she was double parked. Her own statement, she was pulling away from the curb.
She said she was double parked.
No, her statement in the police report is, I was pulling away from the curb.
You were mad about how the police report read. What were you mad about?
It didn't show the parked car.
And you were mad about how the police report read. What were you mad about?
It was inaccurate. I wasn't pulling away from the curb.
And this was not a situation where the officer wrote down your statement and gave you a chance to look at it? Right.
Unfortunately.
Well, they don't usually. Usually they just write their report. I was just, it's detectives who do it the other way. But what kind of car do you drive?
17 Expedition.
And the repair, according to you, is how much?
$1,311.
And what is the $2,000 that you're suing for $1,000? And then $2,000 for defamation of character. Tell me about that.
This episode is brought to you by Google Gemini. With the Gemini app, you can talk live and have a real-time conversation with an AI assistant. It's great for all kinds of things, like if you want to practice for an upcoming interview, ask for advice on things to do in a new city, or brainstorm creative ideas. And by the way, this script was actually read by Gemini. Download the Gemini app for iOS and Android today. Must be 18 plus to use Gemini Live.
For over 50 years, Burlington's legacy has been great deals on coats for all weather conditions. So before you're caught unprepared for the winter weather, head to Burlington for name brands, quality items, and surprising fits for every family member. Stock up on coats, sweaters, and accessories before the cold hits, so you can finally stop avoiding the elements and start living comfortably. Warm up at your nearest Burlington location less than 1 mile away. Burlington. Deals, brands, wow.
She told a story to the police officer that wasn't true about myself, saying I had her pulled in front of her, and there's no way I pulled in front of her.
Okay, that's not defamation. That's her version of the facts. That doesn't make out a defamation case. So why do you have a counterclaim against him for your lost wages?
If he had gone through insurance, which we do have, we wouldn't be
Right, but then
here.
you wouldn't be here either if you'd called your insurance company and said, hey, I'm getting sued, take care of it, that's why I pay insurance. But some people choose not to do that, and they choose...
We called the insurance and asked if there was any claims put in, because I received a phone call from a body shop that he was affiliated with, and the person on the other phone said that, if you wanted to settle this outside of the insurance before they put it through insurance. And I said, what do you mean settle this? From what I understood, it wasn't her fault. She explained to me what happened. And I asked him, how much was something like this going to cost? He said it was going to cost about $500 to fix.
How much?
He said it was going to cost about $500 to fix. So I said, I pay insurance for this purposes, just put it through insurance. And that's what I told him.
So, right, we were...
And the phone records show of when the person, I don't recall his name, but it was from Masters Auto Body. And it shows on the phone records from when he called me. I was working, so I couldn't really get too much information on the person on the phone. But I couldn't believe, I asked him, is this something that you guys normally do? You call people up to, and he said it was asking if...
Yeah, it is kind of weird that the body person call him. I mean, it's very helpful, but do you have the estimate for the $1,300 that you say it? Did you get it fixed?
Yes.
Did it cost you $1,300?
$1,311.
Okay, this is an estimate written up for insurance. Let me see the proof that you paid $1,300.
Well, the car is still being worked on.
When did this happen?
I had to wait a while. I'm a senior citizen.
I realize that, but I'd like to, this is something that you had created in June.
It's not finished. I have to pay for it when it's done.
I don't know. I thought we saw the car in the parking lot and that he drove it. Yeah.
The car here?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is your car here,
Yes,
sir?
it is.
Well, then why are you saying it's not? I'm done. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. I do not find that you have been able to prove your case, and I am finding in favor of the defendant.
So the plaintiff fails to prove his case to the judge, and he does not recover anything for the damages to his car or anything else. He doesn't get $3,000 that he was seeking. Mr. Mayor, what are you thinking about it right now?
It's a shame because her own testimony said she pulled away from the curb, and the judge telling me that she was double parked.
Well, the bottom line is you were just unable to prove your case, your damages, to the judge, and she found against you.
Well, I had a picture that showed the scene, but it wasn't good enough.
Wasn't good enough for the judge, that's it? All right. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Jennifer and Eric have just come out. What's your reaction to the outcome of the case?
I'm happy with it. I think we both are.
Just glad it's over. I think it was totally not her fault, and just glad it's over.
It was the best call.
And we felt like he didn't deserve anything also, so we were happy with the decision.
Well, that's very interesting. All right, good enough. You didn't get any money, but you're happy.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's what we need. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good enough. All right, Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, Doug, I got to tell you, the thing that you have got to always do, you have to do if you're in a car accident, is you get out and you take pictures of the cars from all vantage points before you move them. That is accident construction. And the judge looks at that in court. And that is everything when the judge has to determine who was at fault and who wasn't.
Why do you go to probate court? If someone dies, do you have to go to probate court?
Probate court is the place where a judge decides what happens to your stuff, your assets, your property, things you leave behind. And you can avoid going there. People don't really like to go to probate court because it's slow, it's costly and time-consuming, and it's also very public. So a lot of people don't want their private things about what they own or don't own, and what their assets and their liabilities. They may be more debt than people thought. And you can keep that quiet and out of the newspapers and out of the public eye if you're not in probate court. And people spend a lot of time and trouble to avoid probate court, right?
Right.
I mean, they hire lawyers who will do estate planning, and not just to avoid taxes and avoid paying unnecessary taxes, but also to just keep you out of probate court at the end of the day when the sun sets on your mortal life.
Right. It's usually when there are assets and there's no will.
Right.
And there's...
a will can keep you out of probate court if it covers everything.
If it covers everything. A lot of times it doesn't cover everything.
Right.
And but it'll, if you don't have a will and you have assets, you are absolutely going to be in probate court.
Right. Unless you've got them tied up in trusts and some sort
of... Well, that's different. If you've got them, if you have some legal mechanism to keep you out of probate court, that's fine. But if you just don't do anything because it creeps you out, to talk about death.
Right.
Like a lot of people we know.
Yeah. Just refuse to plan for it.
Refuse to plan for it.
I don't want to think about that.
I don't want to put the kind of horror, come on, that's ridiculous. You have to plan for eventualities.
You have to care about the people you're leaving
behind. The only thing that's certain is death. It's either now or later, but it's certain.
Right.
So, plan for it and don't leave other people running around like nuts, especially if you have, if you don't have assets, it's not going to matter so much. But if you have assets, and sometimes even if you only have a little bit of assets, but a lot of relatives, then you have the fighting. You don't want your loved ones fighting.
And, there's that one rule that we always have to remember about death, and that is where there's a will.
There are relatives.
Exactly. There are relatives.
Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. One of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
This is the plaintiff, Jason. He says he's an Uber driver, and the defendant arranged for a pickup at 1 a.m. on August 2nd. The guy ended up smashing his door into a metal garbage can, denting it. He refuses to take responsibility for the damages he caused, and he's suing him for the $1,746.89 he's owed. This is the defendant, Thomas Malloy. He says the plaintiff refused to take him to his destination, and when he got out of the car, he gently opened the door into a metal garbage can. He admits there was a small scratch on the door of the car. The guy's trying to make a federal case out of it, and he doesn't feel he's responsible. He's accused of denting it up, but good. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,181.30 for counseling and lost wages.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant took his anger out in his car by slamming it into a garbage can, and he wants money for the damage. But the defendant says the plaintiff is an Uber driver who refused to take him to his destination, so he got out of the car and accidentally dinged his door. It's the case of your Uber is garbage.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Jason, you are suing Mr. Malloy for $1,746.89 for your car repair of $1,100 plus $600 in interest. You have a counterclaim against him for your MCAT exam prep fees, registration, counseling, and lost wages. The MCAT is the exam to get into medical school?
Correct.
Okay, are you in college now?
I am.
All right, what year of college are you in?
Junior, third year.
Okay, and you're preparing for the MCAT now?
I took it in the summer and had already registered for it. However, because of my court appearances, was not able to prepare adequately.
So you didn't take the exam?
I took the exam, but need to retake it, so the fees will be incurred again.
All right, Mr. Jason, you start. You tell me what happened this night.
All right, so it was the night of August 1st, 2021.
Okay.
And it was in Hoboken at approximately 1 a.m. That night, I had already done quite a few hours of Uber, and my last ride took me to Hoboken, and I was just ready for my next ride. And so I got a ride, and it turned out to be Mr. Malloy and his friend. And his other friend was rushing towards the car, so I stopped immediately.
Wait, hold on. So you see the ride, and you sign up for the ride?
Well, the ride pops up. It doesn't tell me who it is.
Well, it pops up, but you signed up for, like, in other words, it pops up on the way Uber works, my understanding is it pops up on a bunch of people and somebody answers, you're the somebody who pressed it, right?
Yes, I pressed it.
Okay, and go ahead.
And so followed by Thomas Malloy, and they enter my car, and as Mr. Malloy enters it, there's a trash can about 2-3 feet away. So there's quite a bit of distance, but I was a little bit worried about that. Mr. Malloy was aware of that as well, as I saw him get in, and he was careful. And yeah, and he got in, but after I swiped start trip, because that's when you can see the rider's destination.
Just a second. You see the rider's destination before you accept the trip.
You do not.
So what if it's a 4-hour drive? You don't find that out till the customer's sitting inside your car. That's not true. I know, I use Uber all the time. That's just not how it works. You know what the rider's destination is. You may not have realized it because it's 1 a.m, you've been driving a long time, but you knew when you answered for it what ride you were answering for. It's not a mystery where the person's going.
Madam, with all due respect,
yeah,
all Uber drivers wish that was the case, so then we can choose our rides carefully. Unfortunately, only the very top tier get that privilege. 90%.
I can't accept that, because what if it's a 4-hour ride?
Exactly, and some occasions
I can't imagine that what you're saying is truthful. But in any event, what happens here is after you have accepted the ride, how long were you waiting for the ride?
5-10 minutes probably.
Then you come, and was it one of those situations where Uber says it'll be 1 minute, and then it's magically 5 minutes, then it's magically 7 minutes, and then if you cancel, it's $5 on you?
I wasn't the one that called it. The other party was the one that called it.
So in any event, you get in the car, and he tells you, what does he say?
We said, hello, how are you? Closed the door. I'm fine, thanks. Scrolling on his phone, and then turned around and said, I'm really sorry, but I can't take you. Explained that we were going 45 minutes north. We were in Hoboken going to Bergen County. He lives 45 minutes south. so he couldn't take us home.
Okay. Were you angry?
I was not. The other party, who matches the pretty much same physical description, was getting irritated because he was the one that called the ride. There was some exchange that occurred, and then I said, let's just leave, opened the door, forgetting the garbage can was there, and it tapped it. As I got out, I said, oh, I'm sorry, walked away. And then I saw him get out of the car, and he was on the phone. I said, are you calling the police? He said, yes. And I was like, okay, maybe I should stay.
Okay.
We proceeded with...
Okay, but it is you, when you say match the same physical description, but it is you who accidentally hit the door.
I was the one.
All right, do you have pictures of the damage to the door?
Yes.
I sent that to...
Yeah, I have that. I was just wondering if you had physical pictures. No, all right, I've got them here. Because it's sometimes hard, it's often hard to see in a picture. Okay, so what am I looking at here? This is the door handle?
It's the very edge of the door, so it's...
I see it, I see it.
There's a distance.
So it's like the silvery part that I'm seeing?
Yes, with the bent part, the
right.
Slightly concave section.
Yeah.
That's as far as the trash can was, and because it's in a very difficult position, that's why it's way, a lot more than I thought would be to repair it.
All right, so so the police are out there, and you, what do the police say?
So the police basically saw the situation. He took down both sides. He took down my side, and I told him what happened, and basically everything I just told you. Mr. Malloy was very angry. I got out. I let him know about the bang.
And what did he say?
He was angry. He was just yelling.
What did he say? What was he
He was
yelling?
like, what is that? What is that? Because he was pointing at other stuff on the door. He's like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And his other friend came and took a look at that dent, and he was like, you're fine. You're good. But it was a new car. It was a dent. And he was just yelling. I couldn't communicate with him.
Okay, well, what was he yelling?
He was saying, what is that? What is that? Like pointing at other things.
Like implying that the car was beat up?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so then the police come in. What did the police tell you?
The police officer said...
it's a civil matter.
He said, yeah, it's probably best to take it in small claims because
All
I
right,
can't...
so you don't take it to small claims. What do you do?
Actually, I do. I attempt to at first. I exchanged contact information with Mr. Malloy.
Which the police insisted on. Everybody changed the exchange of contact information. Okay.
So with that contact information, I know that I understand that I need his address in order for papers to be served. I know that that's a must.
Didn't you get the address?
I did not.
Wait, what information did you exchange?
Just a phone number. I asked for a little bit more, but he...
No, but the police is standing right there. Why don't you just ask for the address? And that is, the information is the name, address, and phone number, and or take a picture of the license. Like, how is it that didn't happen? Okay.
I asked him for his phone number, his address, his
when the police, you shouldn't even be talking to him. It is now a police matter because you called the police. The police should be asking for. So did you say to the police, "I need his address," or no?
I mean, I asked the police, but the police were like, "You two talk. We'll stand right here."
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. And then what happened? You asked for his address, and what did he say?
He said no. I asked him for his ID or insurance. He said no, don't have it, didn't bring it.
The police do nothing. They say it's a civil matter. And then do you find his address and you sue him because you have a small claims case in front of me. But before you do that, you go to the prosecutor's office.
So, before that, I sent him a text message asking for his address. No response. At that point, I have nothing. I can't do anything except go back to the police station.
Right.
And ask for his address.
Right.
And actually, in fact, the police say that due to some reasons, due to some past issues, we are not allowed to give out his address. So at that point, I speak to another police officer there, explain to them the situation, everything that happened. What can I do? I know this Mr. Malloy did this intentionally. After he heard the bang, it was a loud bang. It was a metal trash can.
You feel he did it intentionally?
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. He had motive and everything. Absolutely.
So, did the police give you his address? Yes or no?
No.
How did you end up getting his address?
Eventually, at the very, very end, so we went through municipal...
Just answer the question. Okay. How'd you get his address?
The Hoboken prosecutor at
Prosecutor.
the end...
Let's talk about the prosecutor. So what was your first move? You went to the prosecutor's office?
I didn't go to any prosecutor. It was over Zoom. It was during court. At the end of court, when the municipal judge said that he has motive, but since you do not...
Did you not go to a different prosecutor first who said, no, we're not filing charges?
Yes.
All right. Which prosecutor's office did you go to first to make sure he gets prosecuted that said we're not filing charges?
Hoboken Municipal Court. All
right, and then the prosecutor's office decides to prosecute for criminal mischief?
Because I told them the story, they understood everything that happened.
Did they talk to you before they filed charges? Did they attempt to talk to you? Did any police officer talk to you? That night the police officers talked to you?
Yeah.
And did they ask you if you did it on purpose?
Yes. However,
and what'd you say?
I said no.
Right. Okay. So the prosecutor charges you, and do you have to get a defense lawyer, or do you just show up?
I just showed up for the first few, and then they said you can probably apply for a public defender. I said, okay, send the application. I filled it out, and they gave me one.
Okay. And then there's an actual trial.
I don't know the terminology, but I did
It's a
show
trial,
up many times.
right? There was testimony in front of a judge?
No. We never got there because a lot of things happened. His defendant kept delaying it. And during that time, the prosecutor was changed 3 times. So it was a headache for both of us.
So what happened with the charges?
Eventually, his defendant
His public defender?
His public defender filed a motion to dismiss. So the judge reviewed it, said that there was definitely motive for him to intentionally damage the door.
Oh, so it went away on a motion to dismiss.
Yes. But because there was no dash cam evidence that, beyond a reasonable doubt, he couldn't do it.
No, yeah, he shouldn't have been charged. Because even though you feel he did it on purpose, it's really hard to prove something like that. Certainly, he should have to pay for it. I hear what if he damages, he should have to pay for it. But I'm stunned that that it took that long to get dismissed.
3 prosecutors were changed.
Yeah, I was a prosecutor. And 3 prosecutors were changed. That means 3 prosecutors didn't dismiss it on their own. That's even worse in my eyes. Because this is an impossible case to prove. How can you prove what was in his head at that moment? I presume that you're drinking, right? You're out partying. It's 1 a.m. So it's hard to. You have to form a certain specific intent to damage your property to be able to charge him with. What were you charged with anyway? Criminal mischief. Yeah. To charge him with criminal mischief. So the question is, could he even have that intent at 1 a.m? That's why the judge says motive, because he's probably pretty angry. Because if I waited 10 minutes for an Uber, and then I sat in that Uber, and then that Uber driver told me, oh, wait, now that I've wasted 10 minutes of your life, and now you may wait another half hour at 1 a.m. for the next Uber, I just noticed where it was, and I'm not taking it. I don't get it, because the request comes in exactly, this is where I am and this is where I'm going. No matter what, you can't hit his car door against the thing. So now where are we? Let me see. Do you have all 3 repair estimates here? Because honestly, this kind of looks like a job for Dent Wizard.
Thank you, sir.
Where they suck it out?
But it's on the side of the door. That's why they have to redo the whole trunk.
Yeah, sometimes they can't do the sucking out, depending on where it is.
Exactly.
But when was the case dismissed?
Likely August, maybe July.
Of 22?
22, yes.
Okay. So after that happens and the case gets dismissed, because it didn't get dismissed because it was a hassle for both of you. It got dismissed because a judge went ahead and dismissed it. Then do you file this case?
So I didn't have his address. There was nothing for me to do. But luckily for me, the prosecutor mentioned that there is something called an OPRA that I didn't know about, that the police officer didn't tell me about, where if I file through this OPRA, I am able to...
A public records request? It doesn't matter. You got his address, you sued him, so now we're here.
I finally got his address.
Okay, have you had that dent fixed in the last 2 years?
I did not, because I can't afford it. And I called my insurance, but they...
All right, now I see in some texts that you're sending him, you tell him $300 and this will go away. You ignore those texts. Why do you ignore the texts instead of answering?
At the time of the incident, he was demanding $300. I didn't have cash on me. I told him, if you file through your insurance, and my insurance will fulfill. I don't know how it works.
Well, it doesn't work. You weren't driving, so your insurance isn't going to...
Yeah, I don't know how it works, but I was willing to pay for the damages, but just the way he was approaching the situation was very off-putting. So I ignored.
What do you mean by off-putting?
The police were there, and before they had arrived.
I'm talking about in the text, $300 and this goes away.
Right. So that was about the 7th time he had asked for $300.
Right.
So at that point, I was like, I'm just not going to answer you.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
I sent him 2 texts.
Stop. So let me tell you where we are.
Mm-hmm.
You have not applied to medical school yet, have you?
Mm-mm.
No, but you're gonna, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have never applied to medical school, but I have nursed many of my children's friends through their applications. And I have watched my children apply to law school. The question on the application is going to be, if you have ever been arrested?
Fair.
That's going to be the question.
Okay.
And now you got to explain it. So let me give you just a little bit of advice for the future. The more you have to lose, the more you want to just quash something before it becomes a federal case. I know that in your head you never imagined that he would go to a prosecutor's office, much less imagine that you'd be charged. You must have been gobsmacked when you got charged. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. But you have a lot to lose. Right? And hopefully in the future you'll have even more to lose. And so as in your life, when you have more to lose, you have more to just put behind you. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
All right?
Understood.
So if you know that you hit the car and that you do owe the guy something for hitting the car, then the advice the people around you should have given you is, oh, for the love of God, let's just get this behind it. Because you and the people around you know that what your future plans are and what you have to lose. But in any event, my advice to you in the application, make it 3 sentences. Don't make it into a big deal. Just make it 3 sentences. This happened, the case was dismissed by the judge.
Right.
That's it. All right. But now what are we going to do? Because now you could have gotten rid of it for $300, and now he has 3 estimates for the lowest one is $1,050, and so that's where we are now. And you are counterclaiming. Oh, let's talk. I love your counterclaim. You're counterclaiming against him for the MCAT exam cost, the registration fee, the prep packet. Half of the counsel, what are the counseling fees? Counseling for the MCATs or counseling for counseling?
Counseling for personal reasons.
Okay. Half of those, why half?
I figured 100% of it wasn't because of him, but it did start because of this whole case.
It started because of the door or when you got criminally charged?
When I was charged criminally, yeah.
Right. Dude, man. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Bit of a
Lesson
wait.
learned.
Bit of a wait.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to make him pay your MCAT stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's just not. I'm also not going to make him pay your lost wages in criminal court. Your remedy is to win, which you did, and that's good because that's better for your application. But all of the stuff that you're suing for, if he had done something to you, like plagued you on social media, and that would be different. But what he did was take his case to a prosecutor's office that filed it. So, I'm surprised that it happened, but he didn't do anything wrong. He's angry. He thinks you did it on purpose. He thinks you should be prosecuted. So he goes there and it was crazy, just crazy that it went that far, but it did. So now I've got to decide what the damage is worth. I find that if he can get it I know that it is hard. You can't dent wizard it on the corner of the car. It's a problem. So I'm going to find for the cheapest estimate, which is $1,051.72 on your counterclaim against him. For more than that, for your MCAT and counseling, 0 for the reasons we've already discussed. And I wish both of you luck. Good luck, gentlemen.
So the plaintiff prevails. He gets just over $1,000 from the judge, not the $1,700 he was seeking. The defendant, Mr. Malloy, is on his way out of the courtroom. This has been an interesting ride you've been on since the night you didn't get the ride you wanted, right?
Absolutely.
What's your reaction to what just happened in here?
I can't say I'm surprised that I didn't get the counterclaim for sure. However, I am surprised that she found me guilty, being that I didn't place the garbage can or the car. But things happen.
You admitted you hit the door.
Oh, absolutely. There was no denying.
That's why she found in his favor.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. It's just strange that, he parked the car there. Therefore, I didn't, forgetting that the garbage can is there doesn't seem like it's my fault, but I do understand why.
Were you mad when you got out of the car? Do you remember?
Absolutely not. I was the one diffusing the situation. The other party was angry.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
Well, you got hooked for it.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It happens.
I'm sure you've learned a lot out of this experience.
We can say that.
I would hope so. Thank you very much.
You're
welcome. You owe him just a little over $1,000. All righty. Good luck to you. Hope you get in med school.
Thank you.
All right? All right. This has been an amazing ride you've been on. For heaven's sakes, you don't give up, do you?
I mean, I guess not.
No, good for you. Come on, you felt somebody had damaged you and you were going to keep at it until you got some resolve.
Well, a lot of it was out of my control.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it didn't go this long. A lot of it was out of my control. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations. All right, Harvey, what are your thoughts?
Well, Doug, I mean, this is pretty obvious that when you pull out, you need to know who is around you. If you do not look carefully and you get in an accident because you don't, you're going to be responsible.
Marilyn, what's the one thing you would never do again?
If there's one thing I could change, I would demand a parenting manual when I took them from the hospital.
Because you had no clue.
No
when you
clue,
walked
and I
out the
feel
door.
like I feel like I learned along the way, and
right.
So does everybody. But I feel
we
like
were so utterly unprepared for what lay ahead that day. When we came home, we put the kid on the tabletop, and we sat down next to him. We just looked at each other.
What have these people done?
Now what?
No.
Holy crap! There's somebody else in the house.
But I think I was harder on my first one than I was excessively harder on my first one, and I would do that differently.
You have such a thoughtful answer to that question. You know, I was going to say I probably wouldn't go ziplining again, which is, really reflects something about the difference between me and you. So, having kids is a little more complicated than ziplining.
Yeah. Who knew?